According to KDE, users of X, of Twitter, are Nazis. And the owner of X, Elon Musk, is also a Nazi. And that is why that KDE, the K-desktop environment for Linux, no longer uses and posts to X. This is an official statement from a longtime paid employee of KDE. Yes, KDE has paid employees. And I'm just going to read it to you now. They posted this over on the KDE mailing list just yesterday. Quote, "We stopped posting on X for several reasons. Number one, the owner is a Nazi. Well, that's a nice blunt statement. Number two, the owner censors non-Nazis and promotes Nazis and their messages. Number three, hence, most people who remain on X are clueless and have difficulty parsing written text, one would assume, or are Nazis. Number four, most of the new followers we were getting were Nazi propaganda spewing bots, 7 out of 10 on average, or just straight up Nazis." Wow. "Our community is not made up of Nazis, and many of our friendly contributors would be the target of Nazi harassment. So we were not sure what we were doing there and stopped posting and left. We are happy with that decision and have no intention of reversing it. Cheers, Paul." This was from Paul Brown of their promotion and communications team from KDE. Holy heavens. Now this is significant. KDE powers a lot of things in the open source world. If people have a Steam Deck, you are using KDE. That's the K-desktop environment on a Steam Deck. A large number of Linux distributions ship with KDE by default. It is a fairly high quality system that is used very, very broadly. Not as much as GNOME, but it is used all over the place. And so when KDE comes out and makes a very clear statement like this, well, it makes you stand up and take notice. Now, I've reached out to the team at KDE. I've reached out to their board of directors. I've reached out to Paul. I've reached out to multiple committees at KDE, and I have gotten absolutely no response. I've offered them the opportunity to comment on this, to confirm that other people hold this view, etc. I've gotten absolutely no response. Now, if they did not agree with this view, it would be super simple and easy for them to come out and say, nah, that's not us. Paul was wrong. We take it back. But they have not. Now, here's the thing. There's multiple problems here. The first is what Paul Brown of KDE is talking about here is not actual Nazis. That's not what is being discussed here. We're not talking about members of the Nazi political party, because the word Nazi has a very real actual definition, and he is not using that definition. Just like so many in the free and open source software world have decided to co-opt the word Nazi, which is a very real thing of very real people who have killed a lot of human beings, and decided to apply it to everyone they possibly could ever disagree with. And it's gotten to the point where the word Nazi has lost all meaning, and it's almost becoming like the new "you're racist," right? It has no meaning anymore if you simply apply it to everything. If everyone is a Nazi, then nobody is. And as speaking as someone of the many bazillions of people who have known people who have suffered at the hands of Nazis, it is deeply, deeply, deeply offensive that KDE would begin applying this brush so broadly as to even include Elon Musk as a Nazi. He's not a Nazi. He's not a member. Ridiculous, ridiculous. But what's even crazier about this is that this is an ongoing pattern throughout all of the tech industry, and particularly in open source, where the majority of open source organizations are doing this exact thing right now. I'm going to walk you through just a small sampling of the major open source organizations who have begun officially labeling people as Nazis when they are not Nazis. Let's just go through this just one at a time real quick. After the assassination attempt on President Trump, the official spokespeople for Red Hat using the same social media accounts that they use for their job while wearing the red fedora of Red Hat Linux came out and spoke about how that people needed to rise up against the fascism of Trump like their grandparents did against Hitler, implying that all Republicans are Nazis and need to be murdered. I reached out to Red Hat and IBM. They would not disavow those statements at all. They encouraged, literally, these were Red Hat employees, not Red Hat employees, Red Hat spokespeople, encouraging violence against anyone they disagreed with by calling them Nazis. Now, that's not an unusual thing for the world of Red Hat. Fedora Linux, just as another example, one of their marketing people, again, official spokesperson, marketing team, went on rampages calling Jews Nazis, specifically calling Jews Nazis, and encouraging the murder of Jews because they're evil Nazis. I suggested that this maybe wasn't a great thing. In fact, I was specifically called a Nazi because I'm Jewish, and it was encouraged that people murder me because of that. When Fedora Linux was reached for this, they have a code of conduct team and a whole code of conduct that should prohibit this sort of thing. They spent the better part of a year researching it and eventually decided that, nah, there's not any problem here. It's okay that people call Jews Nazis and encourage their murder. And boop, boop, done. That's official. I've documented the heck out of it. It's absolutely asinine. Again, the GNOME project, the largest desktop in the Linux world, says that Framework Computer and people who work with Framework Computer have Hitler particles and are Nazis. Again, this is from official spokespeople from GNOME. This is written by people inside the GNOME Foundation, then part of the GNOME project, who write their press releases, who write their blog posts, who write their release notes, who make their announcement posts, and some of this stuff is included in those official accounts. It's ridiculous. And again, at no point throughout any of this has GNOME or Fedora or Red Hat or anyone else distanced themselves from any of these statements, despite the fact that they're really, really easy to do. Another example. Again, the GNOME Foundation declaring that anyone who is a Jew adjacent, Jewish, Israeli, etc., is the new Hitler Youth and are Nazis. Again, GNOME has never condemned that. They have never punished those people. They have never gotten rid of those people. They have never made any statement that would contradict those statements. They're just all about it. Gosh, there's so much from GNOME. You could go on and on about GNOME. The GNOME website has entire posts that they posted to gnome.org, specifically calling out individual people as Nazis, including myself. The developer of XLibre, the open source fork of Xorg, was called, quote, an actual Nazi. Along with a wide variety of other things, and just went on and on and on about it. Now, in response to a whole lot of people being called Nazis, like DHH, the creator of Ruby on Rails and Omarchy Linux, Vaxry, a gentleman who created the Hyperland window manager and compositor, they got called Nazis and fascists and said they had Hitler particles, among other things. In response to that, the Framework Computer community moderators, their volunteers on their Discord servers, all went on strike because they, I guess, agreed that, yeah, those are Nazis, but they didn't think Framework Computer should do business with them. It was weird. I don't know. Representatives from Canonical, Debian, and GNOME defaced other projects they didn't like the XLibre project, specifically calling them Nazis and Nazi bars. Again, that's Canonical and Debian and GNOME. I mean, this goes on and on and on. The head of Elementary OS regularly calls everyone that he doesn't like Nazis, specifically a lot of times by name. Debian developers specifically declared on their mailing lists that the XLibre project, the people who develop it, are Nazis who would, quote, would have sent someone to a camp were they given the opportunity. I am not willing to let Debian become a Nazi bar, blah, 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 blah. The editor of osnews.com specifically called for my murder because I am a, quote, you guessed it, Nazi. Over and over and over again, because, you know, conservative American Jews, they tend to be members of the Nazi party. Wink, wink. On what reality does that make any sort of sense whatsoever? And then, of course, you remember the NixOS fiasco, where the NixOS moderation team began a mass, what they called, purge of Nazis. And of course, they weren't talking about actual Nazis. They were talking about conservatives, just anyone who wasn't leftist activist enough, anyone who wasn't Antifa. And that doesn't mean they weren't anti-fascist. That means that they weren't a member of the Antifa organizations that which in the United States are officially declared terrorist organizations because they are terrorists. It's just on and on and on. At this point, it's becoming increasingly hard to find organizations which don't specifically attack people by calling them Nazis. It's insane. It's patently insane and absurd. And it's deeply, deeply offensive that Canonical has never come out and distanced itself from this. Not fully. Neither is Debian, neither is GNOME, neither is Fedora or Red Hat or NixOS or Elementary OS. And now KDE is out there calling basically every person who uses X as a social media network a Nazi, a straight up Nazi, as they put it. It is insulting. It is dehumanizing. It runs contrary to every code of conduct that every one of these organizations has, which just proves that their codes of conduct in all of these organizations exist solely to be used as a weapon against people they don't like. Because if they really genuinely believed in their codes of conduct, all of the people that I've pointed out here and so many others would be out on their keisters right now. They'd be fired, they'd be censored, they'd be silenced, and these organizations would come out and said, no. We don't think Lunduke is a Nazi that needs to be murdered just because he's Jewish. That's all they have to say. No. We don't think Elon Musk and every X user is a Nazi. That's all they have to say. But they won't. They refuse to state that because apparently they agree. As far as I can tell, these organizations all agree with these extreme, wild, insane, and highly inaccurate statements. And the end result is that massive numbers of people are forced out of these projects, are forced out of the world of open source. They are destroying the morale. They are destroying the software quality. They are destroying generally the feeling of safety that people have, because we have people literally calling for murder. The head of Elementary OS has called for violence against me. Several journalists have called for violence against me. People in Fedora and GNOME have called for my murder, and never, not one time, have the organization said that's too far. Never. And this isn't about just me, because clearly, as we went through this list here, they were just shotgunning everyone they could, everyone they might dislike a little bit, as Nazis. Ridiculous, absurd, and honestly a little bit evil. It's absolutely insane. Now, I would suggest, if there's a shred, a spark of human decency and a desire to at least be somewhat accurate, that these organizations, and again, KDE, GNOME, Fedora, Red Hat, IBM, Canonical, Debian, the NixOS, Elementary, all of them, they'd come out and they say, no, not all these people are Nazis. Elon Musk's not a Nazi. Lunduke's not a Nazi. DHH is not a Nazi. Vaxry is not a Nazi. The developer behind the Ladybird web browser, not a Nazi. On and on and on. There's just, it's ridiculous. It's absurd and it's ridiculous. And I'm going to keep shining a light on these people and what they're doing, because it's destroying the computer industry. It's destroying the world of open source and free software. It's destroying the world of Linux. It's destroying it. And as far as I can tell, they're doing it on purpose. Thank you to the Lunduke Journal subscribers for allowing me to do this sort of coverage, because nobody else is doing it. I don't know why. I genuinely don't know why. Why is it not front and center on Wired or The Verge or The Register or Phoronix or OMG Ubuntu or ZDNet or any tech publication or Gizmodo? Why are none of them covering this stuff? This is dramatic and extreme. It's yet another dramatic, extreme news story where people are making off the charts wild accusations, dehumanizing people, vilifying people, attacking people, and making those decisions and choices that dramatically impact the projects themselves, the people that are in it, and on and on and on. And yet they don't get covered. Why is that? It's worth asking why that is. It's worth asking why do these other outlets refuse to cover these sorts of stories? Because that's huge. It's huge. They cover nothing. They repackage press releases, but they won't cover this. Insane. But thank you to the Lunduke Journal subscribers for making it possible. Go to lunduke.com and you can find links of where you can watch and listen and read everything from the Lunduke Journal. If you want to get a lot of the stuff as it's breaking in a raw, unfiltered form, subscribe to me over on X, which is, for free. You can just follow me over there. That's kind of where I post screenshots as I find them and breaking news as it comes out before it gets distilled down into shows and articles and other sorts of publications. But you can find that over on X. Everything's over at lunduke.com. And thank you to all the subscribers for pitching in, for making it so that I don't have to rely on sponsorships and advertisements from large companies. It allows the Lunduke Journal to stay ad-free, big tech-free, non-woke, and totally audience supported. And thank you to the Lunduke Journal lifetime subscribers. I've got a list here, and my apologies. I've got a couple of people that have asked to be put on the list. I didn't forget you. I just forgot to, well, I kind of did. I forgot to update this specific slide. I will get you in there next time. But all of these folks and so many others have become lifetime subscribers to the Lunduke Journal. I only add people to this wall when they request it, and I try to update it about once a week or so. So I'm gonna have to maybe make a second slide for it for next week. But thank you to all of you. Your support of the Lunduke Journal means that all this work can continue, and it's a great vote of confidence in the type of reporting that the Lunduke Journal is doing. So I really couldn't do it without you. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, nerds and nerdettes across the inner tubes, I do declare end broadcast.